Where there's thunder, there's lightning. John Nada. Today will be a free-form show. I got to thinking about something the past day or two, and it's kind of hit close to home for me. And that's the idea of Mgtow in name only. Now, I'll be the first person to say and advocate, for the idea that Mgtow, it has certain sets of tenets that we all agree on, and that, in order to go your own way, you need to separate from the society to an extent. You need to separate from relationships and truly seek out yourself and have those self-actualization experiences and moments and learn not only out of books and, through study, but also learning from experience. But I would be the first to say that Mgtow does not look the same to all of us. What's Mgtow for me may not necessarily be Mgtow for you, although there are some certain hard and fast rules to it. In the same way that if you pour water into a glass, it looks different than if it's in a pool. It looks different than if it's in the ocean. What I'm trying to say is that Mgtow can be many things and still be Mgtow. And I would be the first one to advocate for this. But the point is, it's the Tao of Mgtow. But for it to actually be Mgtow, one actually has to be going their own way. And I may have said this on the program before. This could be a reiteration of a point I've already made, but I got to thinking about a lot of us, and like I said, this hits close to home for me. A lot of us say that we're Mgtow. And a lot of us may believe that we're Mgtow. And this is the tricky thing about trying to find out what one stands for, what one's about, who one is. And that oftentimes we have to reassess where we're at, and we have to make some decisions, and some of these decisions are difficult. And what I mean to say by this is, I feel as if a lot of us are saying we're Mgtow, and we may very well be Mgtow, but we're not taking that next step to really truly find out who it is we are and what we're all about. We stay in jobs that we hate. And for the simple fact, for the pure reason that, let's just be honest, we have to eat, we have to put food on the table, we have to pay bills. But many of you guys out there have the knowledge, have the know-how. You just don't have the confidence to go out there and take a risk to do something you actually love, to be doing something you actually enjoy. So you stay at that job you hate. You stay at the job you hate, you put up with the BS at that job because you're terrified of the unknown. You're terrified of not knowing what's next. And so you stay in a bad situation, you stay in a dark, deplorable situation because you don't believe in yourself and because you don't have the courage to truly go your own way beyond just the relationship realm of things. I really feel like a lot of us, we wear the label Mgtow, but we're not really doing anything with the knowledge. It's all fine and well. It's like wearing, a Toronto Blue Jays hat, but you're not on the team. But acting as if, you're on the team because you wear the hat or the jersey or whatever. So a lot of us, we're Mgtow because we don't know what else to call ourselves. And some of us really think we're going our own way, but in reality, we've not really gone our own way, or we're not fully going our own way. And I don't mean this as an indictment on any particular person. What I mean this as is just this podcast, this program, whatever you call it, is as much for me as it is everybody else out there. And let me just be the first to say, like I said, I really do think I have the greatest audience on YouTube. Some of the most heartfelt. I get some great comments from you guys, and you guys really seem to think a lot of me, which it takes me aback, and I feel really honored to have helped a lot of you guys out. So I take this as an opportunity to say thank you for helping me. Thank you for holding me accountable. Because I feel like a lot of us, getting back to the original point, we're still doing the things. A lot of the things that we do, we're doing them because we feel like we have to, or we feel like there's really no other option. And I feel like that a lot of what Mgtow is about is option. And what does option ultimately equal to? It equals to freedom. And many of us are not as free as we think we are, and we're not as free as we would wish to truly be. And I had a friend many years ago, and I think his statement still rings true to this day. The thing that really motivates, the motivating factor for the vast majority of us is fear. We go to a job we hate every day because of fear. We put up with the things that we put up with outside of work because of fear. It all boils down to fear. Fear of what? We don't know. Fear of losing your job, fear of not being able to pay your bills or have a place to stay. Sure, those are all legitimate fears. Worry. We're Mgtow, but so many of us worry. Worry, worry, worry. And you don't even know enough about the world you live in. You don't even know enough about the space that's around you, the galaxies that are around you. Think about it. The things that we know, that the average person can conceive of. And it's arrogance, in a sense. It's complete arrogance to worry, because we don't know enough about anything. And worrying presupposes that we have some special knowledge, that we have some insight, that we have some clairvoyance. Now, I'm not saying don't prepare. I'm not saying that all worry is bad. But at the end of the day, the greatest mystery of all is ourselves, is our individual selves, who we are. And that's the whole disconnect here. This is how we were able to jettison from where we were. I mean, 10 or 15 years ago, I was in a completely different place then than where I'm at now. And the vast majority of that's great. The vast majority of that is good. It's been freeing. There have been some negative aspects to that. But I think the biggest lesson that I've learned, that is this idea that there was a time where I would have believed that my life is not going to be as fulfilling. My life isn't going to be as good. All these things that you see traipsed in front of you in the media and in the cultural climate, you've got to be married, you've got to have a relationship. Without all these things, without the white picket fence, without this traditional whatever, your life will never be as meaningful and fulfilling as it would be if you had those things. And yet, what I found is that the greatest mystery of all, and one of the most fulfilling things, is the discovery of self, that journey you take to discover yourself, but not only discover yourself, not only understand yourself, not just self-actualization for self-actualization's sake, but taking what's there and making it better, improving it, being refined in that fire. And that's, I guess, what I'm trying to get at in the heart of this. That a lot of us, I think we started out with good intentions. I really do. But it's become watered down. It's become, there's been a lot of politics thrown into things. And in the process, the things that we learned, we've forgotten. And a lot of us never got started. A lot of us never got off the starting line. We learned the truths, but we continue to live the same life and fool ourselves into thinking that we're going our own way, when in fact we're going the way that we've always went, which is the way of somebody else. We're going the way that somebody else wants us to go. We're going their way and not our own way. Because it's easy to say that you are somebody going your own way. But a lot of us, I think, are caught up in this comfort zone. We feel as if we just say it enough times, it makes it true. But what a lot of people, I don't think, realize is that going your own way was never promised to be an easy way. It was never promised to be the primrose path or the yellow brick road. And I think a lot of us want to go our own way. But as we travel down that path and it gets a little bit darker, you get a little thicker into the forest, the trail becomes narrower and overgrown. We either stop or we turn back. We stop and we say, this is good enough where I'm at. So what I want this to be is just an encouragement to you guys. Sit down and think about things. Sit down and reflect on things. Go to a quiet place. Meditate, however that may look for you. I mean, I'm not talking about some, new age kind of whatever. Meditation can be many things, just like Mgtow can be many things. Sit down and think about things, where you're at. Maybe you became Mgtow a year or two ago or 3 years ago or whatever. What's different about your life now? What's changed from the time that, you became free up until this point? And I hope that a lot of us can look at ourselves and sit down and reflect on these things and find that there has been a lot of things that have changed in positive ways. And then think, where do I want to go next? What can I do next? How can I ensure that I'm constantly and continuing to go my own way on a path of freedom, on a path of choices? Because it is very easy, it's very simple for one to get diverted. There's all these things vying for our attention. There's all these things vying for not only our physical resources, but our essence, our energy, our spirit. Because everything's got to have energy. Be it money, be it physical energy, brain energy, creativity. And it's all vying, everything out there is vying for the essence of you. So don't lose yourself along the path. Don't allow yourself to be diverted to a dead end or be ensnared and entangled by the underbrush. I think it's important that we continually renew our minds, continually refresh our spirits, and take stock and reassess and look at where we're at. Check your compass every once in a while. Make sure your azimuth is heading in the direction. Make sure your heading is true and headed to where you're wanting to head. Because all it takes is a slight breeze, a slight blow of wind. And before you know it, you're off an inch, you're off a foot, and you're off a mile. Stay awake out there, brothers. Go your own way, or don't. The choice is yours.